Arizona, Oregon, the Cats, they are 5-2 in the Pac-12, and Shireen Ryan joins us from Zona Zealots. What did you think of that Oregon State effort?
I think we dominated that team. It was fun to watch. Um, Khalil finally got going, had another 71-yard rushing touchdown in that game. And we got ahead so far that Rich Rod played. It was senior day, senior night. And so he put in Brandon, and Brandon scored a rushing touchdown. And then Brandon Dawkins. And then he played Zach Werlinger, who was a senior. So Zach got to play on senior day at the last game, the last home game of the season for the Arizona Wildcats. So senior day was really fun, and I'm going to miss the seniors, especially Jacob Alsadek, who I got to know over the years, who's on the O-line and who's helping Khalil be as great as he is. The whole O-line has done a really good job this year. And I think part of that's because Jacob's, he said he was going to take no prisoners this year, and he doesn't like losing, and he didn't like last season, so he wanted to make it different this season. But we also have all these freshmen, these red shirt freshmen and freshmen. There's 61 on the roster, I believe. And like Colin Schuler or Schooler, it's Colin Schooler, whose brother plays for Oregon. Brendan Schooler. They both have flowy blonde hair, and one's a sophomore at Oregon, and he claims he grew out his hair first, and then Colin kind of copied him. But yeah, they will be playing against each other in the upcoming game. So that's kind of a nice side story.
So, Shireen, Oregon does in fact have the statistically second best rush defense in the Pac-12. Washington's number one. They are fourth in the country. Oregon is 25th in the country, just ahead of Washington State, giving up 129 yards per game. Well, Khalil Tate usually rushes for about $150, $175, and then J.J. Taylor and company usually chip in with quite a bit. I will check out the Arizona rushing stats, but that's going to be quite the matchup there.
Zach Green's been doing awesome. I don't know if he had 8 touchdowns so far this season, but he rushed. I think he went over 100 yards and had a touchdown or 2, crucial ones in the last game. So I think Zach's doing a great job too. So we have Zach Green. We have Nick Wilson is now healthy, and so he's playing again. And we have J.J. Taylor, my spin cycle guy, who he's like Khalil in that he eludes tackles, but he had a very long run. It was very fun to watch. When he breaks out just like Khalil, it's the two of them feed off each other. But we'll see. Look, some of the best teams in the conference have not been able to stop Tate. I mean, if he didn't figure it out in the first half of the USC game, he figured it out in the second half. If it wasn't for those two interceptions, one of them kind of the USC player took it out of the wide receiver's hand. So it was an interception, but it didn't look like, your classic interception. But if it wasn't for those 2 turnovers, there was a very good chance that Arizona could have won that game. And USC is a powerhouse. Like they're bigger than us. And, there was the fact that we came back in that game was just the saving grace. And I think that the fans just were in awe of the comeback. So they didn't get a lot of flack for losing that game. But the media in Tucson, they decided to harp on the fact that Khalil was crying after the game because he wanted it so badly. I mean, it's his former teammates at Sarah on the team. And so Coach Helton was real good to him, came over and told him, he made everybody proud. And he was all smiles by the time he came out of the locker room when I saw him. So ready to play for Oregon State. That went really well. And now on to Oregon, which they really feel like they have something to prove. Like they're not done proving. Even though they're not going to win the Pac-12 South, they still, want the best bowl they can get, and they want a really good winning record. And now Rich Rod's up for Coach of the Year. So he can thank a lot of that for Khalil's elusiveness on the field. And, I mean, he only misses like a couple passes a game. I think it was 7 for 9 or 5 for 7 or something in the last game. So